We thought was ridiculous. In fact, we laughed it off because it was clear that once someone has submitted this document and accompanies it with a certificate from the National Council, this is the body charged with equating academic qualifications, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they complained to the Electoral Commission, and their main contention was that this document had expired on 12th June 2025. The certificate which he obtained, the certificate of mature age, which he obtained from Islamic University in Uganda. Islamic University in Uganda wrote a letter on the 11th of November. It is here. And it was clearly saying, this is to certify that Mr. Walukaga Mathias, registration number this, sat from mature age up to test held on 25th February 2020 and obtained this score. And very, very importantly, the university said that the mature age certificate expires after 2 years if the candidate has not used it to enroll for further studies. Otherwise, the certificate remains valid. Anybody who knows English can clearly see this is very, very clear. The university itself, which gave the document, is saying that this document is valid as long as the person enrolls, goes for further studies. The Honorable Walukaga submitted a letter to the Electoral Commission from St. Lawrence University, where he is pursuing his studies, and right now he's in the 3rd year. Is Byabakama trying to tell us that someone is at university without completing senior 6? The university itself, St. Lawrence, clearly wrote indicating that he is in 3rd year pursuing his academic studies at that particular university. Therefore, and these are the guidelines of the Electoral Commission, they themselves clearly indicate, the guidelines of the Electoral Commission, that once a person submits this certificate from the National Council for Education, it is enough to certify that the person has a minimum academic qualifications. Eastern Uganda were able to nominate bigger. Council for Education is saying this man has the requirements. He has the requisite qualifications. Byabakama is saying, no, you do not have those qualifications. Of course, all of you know that there is a hand behind all this. It is clear. This is not the law we are discussing here. It's politics at play. The regime, like I said, has invested massively and launched an attack on our candidates. We have even been told that they are not yet done, that there are other candidates of NUP who they are trying to denominate illegally and constitutionally. So we are here to make an announcement that as a national platform, this is a matter that we cannot take lightly. In fact, all the 4 candidates who have been denominated have been interviewed. Our legal team is working very hard to ensure that there is an appeal against all these illegal decisions of the Electoral Commission. You have been saying, we've been telling them, first of all, you are journalists here, you imagine that the returning officer is part of the Electoral Commission. The returning officer has nominated a candidate. Then the Electoral Commission, in our view, should be thanked as official at that point. The matters should go to court. But what Byabakama and his team are saying now is that even on the last day before polling, that they can denominate a candidate. That's what they are saying. That right now, as things stand, Byabakama, you can get nominated, get fully nominated as a candidate, do your campaigns, complete the campaign process, and on the day before the voting, Byabakama will write you to say, I have denominated you. What kind of nonsense is that? Does it make any sense to anybody? So, and it happened in the last election. You remember when Museveni realized that he was not going to withstand the pressure. We had a very popular youth candidate for Uganda, for Central Region. That man was denominated a day before the elections. They wrote him a day before the elections and told him, you are no longer a candidate. And again, they claimed that 2 of the people who had nominated him had done so illegally, or they had withdrawn their consent to nominate him. You are members of the press. Ask yourselves, you've been seeing all these denominations taking place. How come no single NRM candidate has been denominated? How come? It's either NUP candidates or independent candidates where NRM has strong interests where they want their candidates to run unopposed. Someone may ask, and you've seen different complaints that, apparently they are resolving, and they make all these blanket statements. I can even predict that maybe if that charlatan in Nakawa had not complained against the NRM candidate, because you know the Nakawa situation where they were saying that they put the wrong constituency. Maybe what that man did, which saved our candidates, was that when they made a complaint, the complaint also was targeting the NRM candidate. And the Electoral Commission realized that now there was no way they were going to disqualify the NRM candidate and others. So they dismissed that complaint. But you have seen every other day they are denominating candidates. You've not seen any NRM candidate being denominated. Finally, on this point, all of you know someone called Emmanuel Rwashande. Rwashande took something called the UPDF certificate. UPDF was not in existence by the time, that issue, that certificate, it was in the 1980s apparently. But the certificate was reading UPDF. Everybody could see that this was a nonsensical document. But you know what the Electoral Commission said? They said that once the National Council had given him the certificate, that they had no power, that they could not go on to inquire into the validity of that certificate. Am I clear on that? That's what the Electoral Commission said. They said that for them, they are not a body that goes on to inquire into the validity of documents. They said that they have to rely on the certificate from the National Council for Higher Education. And we're asking them, how come? If they did not have powers to look into the documents of Rwashande, when did they get the powers to look into the documents of Walukaga? Isn't it a clear case of witch hunt? So, ladies and gentlemen, our team, our legal team is going to court, to the High Court immediately, to lodge an appeal against this decision of the Electoral Commission. But I also must say that we're handling this issue legally and politically. And the party is going to sit very quickly. We know the people who are behind all this, clearly, but I can tell them that the people of Busiro East are going to have the last laugh. You cannot impose yourself on the people if people have rejected you, through all means that you may come up with and all these things. So our advice would be, let those people go into fair competition. And if they